Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my life and how I was able to go from a very stressful situation and position in my life to a much better one. And I thought I'd go over that journey with you just in case you're having stresses and anxieties in your life so that you can know that there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. I will be telling you a supplement that I use, so please keep in mind that I am not a doctor. I have been to doctors and this is the only thing that has worked for me, so I hope that this is helpful to you, and let's dig in. It's been that kind of day. About 2 years ago, I was in a position where everything was out of whack. I wasn't where I wanted to be with school. I wasn't living my life the way that I wanted to be. I was just so out of whack that any little thing would give me rushes of adrenaline. So it wasn't necessarily that I felt stressed, it's just my body was reacting to these situations in my life in a very stressed way. So I kid you not, any mishap, like dropping my keys, or I would just be getting surges of adrenaline. And this was an accumulation of a lot of things. I used to be very active in high school, and when I got to college, I was not nearly as active. I have since gotten myself back into the gym, which has been wonderful, and it is a total stress reliever, but that was one factor. I had bad roommates, and that was an additional stress. I wasn't where I wanted to be with school. I have always wanted to go to law school, and I wasn't in the position to pursue that, or I wasn't where I thought I should be with that. And that was a stress for me. It was really my identity. That was something that I have been working toward for a very, very long time, and because I didn't get it, or because I wasn't as prepared for it as I thought I was going to be, I was just really overwhelmed. On top of that, I didn't feel like I had a home. For me, having a home is so important. My room is my sanctuary. I need alone time. I am very much an introvert, and if I don't have my little sanctuary, it never feels like I can rest. So I didn't have a home. I had a boyfriend that wasn't supportive. And I wasn't living my life the way that I really wanted to. So all of those things really were just, car problems. I was having car problems, which was the worst. I got so much extra anxiety from having car problems. So all of those things in combination really just were very taxing on my body, and I, like I said earlier, any little thing would give me adrenaline, and I was at a point where I was feeling nauseous. I was getting the chills, my tongue would go numb, like just incredible anxiety. My heart would start racing just for anything, and I had to go to the urgent care, and I told them what the issue was. I told them I was having heart palpitations. It felt like I was having a heart attack. I was afraid to be alone, and that is very unlike me. I love to be alone. I need to be alone a lot of the time, and I was afraid to be alone because I was so stressed. I was like, my heart's gonna stop. It's just pounding so hard. I felt like I just would not make it if I had a panic attack. So I went to the doctor because they thought, this is enough. All of these things, I just am overwhelmed and I need to find a solution to this. So the first option was prescription medication, and I am very against prescription medication. I think that people use those too often. I very rarely use ibuprofen. I think that exercise will do more good for you. The endorphins that you get from getting a good cardio high is 10 times better than any kind of ibuprofen. Of course, there are situations where you need to take it, and I'm perfectly reasonable and able to discern which situations that require actual medication would be, but otherwise, I typically avoid them. I don't want to ever be reliant on medication, so I'm sure that you can imagine all of the different type of pharmaceutical options they gave me when I went to urgent care for my anxiety. I tried one of them. I tried one pill, and I hated it. I was not myself. I slept pretty much all that day, and there was nothing good about it. It didn't solve my problems, and I knew it wouldn't solve my problems, so I decided to find an alternative. I ended up going to a naturopath upon the recommendation of a very close friend of mine, and while I am reasonably skeptical about those types of things, I went to the naturopath, and they suggested 5-HTP or 5-hydroxytryptophan. This is the precursor to serotonin. Serotonin is the chemical that makes us happy. And the reason we don't actually take serotonin, because that would make sense, right? Take the happy drug, the chemical in our brains the chemical that our brains produce to make us feel good. Well, technically, we cannot take that and have it absorbed into our body and have it be effective. 5-hydroxytryptophan is the precursor to serotonin, and it is able to cross the blood-brain barrier. So I was able to use this consistently and get such relief. I don't love that I have to rely on any certain drug or supplement, but this is something that I need in my life, because when I neglect to take it, even for a few days, I can feel it. Just recently, I forgot to take it for about 3 days, and I had a meeting, and I was just anxious, and my voice was shaking, and I couldn't speak as confidently as I knew how, and I was just overwhelmed by how busy I was, and I could really feel the negative effects of anxiety. To most people, anxiety is a good thing. It allows us to stay on our toes and be very alert, but for me, it was inhibiting. And when you're at that point and your anxiety is becoming inhibiting, I highly recommend you go to a doctor or try 5-HTP. Please keep in mind, I am not a doctor, and I don't pretend to be a doctor. I don't want to be a doctor, but research it. That is the best thing that you can do for anything that you take. Anything that you put in your body, you should research it. Look at the nutrition label. Read what effects that supplement will give you, or the long-term effects of any prescription that you take. Anything that you take, read about it, learn about it, understand the way that it will affect you. All in all, I was at a point in my life where the stress was overwhelming and I couldn't handle it, so I needed to go to a doctor, and the only solution that made me feel normal, that made me feel good, that made me feel like me again was the 5-HTP. And while we all have rough patches in our lives, when some things just accumulate and it's such a heavy burden for us that it becomes overwhelming for our bodies, even though we feel like we're handling it, our bodies, they're talking to us. And if you're feeling that anxiety, go to a doctor and talk to someone and find a way to resolve the actual issue. Don't try to just cover the symptoms, because you will not feel like yourself. I can tell you a million times and over again, taking anything besides 5-HTP made me feel like I wasn't myself, and I think I'm wonderful, so we all want to be ourselves. We don't want to be anyone other than ourselves. So anyway, I hope that was helpful to you. That has been such a wonderful tool in my life, and I thought that because I have forgotten to take it and because I was feeling very anxious yesterday, I would spread the news, because I think it's a wonderful thing. And if I didn't have it, I would be a mess, I feel like. So today at the end of my videos, as some of you may know, I'm going to be finishing them up with my fragrance of the day today because I wanted to do something a little bit more relaxing and gentle and soft to kind of go with the video that we're talking about. I'm going to wear the Joe Malone Earl Grey and Cucumber. I think this is a really nice, light, sweet fragrance. It's a little peppery on top, but once it wears down, it is so wonderful and so sweet. I just adore that cucumber. I think it has beeswax in it, and that scent in there is just perfect in my opinion. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Please look into it if you're feeling anxious, if you're having stresses and anxieties. Do something about it because your bodies, they talk to you. You just have to listen. I hope you all are having a wonderful week, and I hope that you guys come back next Wednesday because I'll see you then.